I think. And now the recording started. Craig Williamson of Lamp of the Universe, of Arc of Ascent, of Wellington, New Zealand?
Hamilton,
New Zealand. It's an utter pleasure to talk to you. I feel like we have emailed for many years, and I'm sure at some point there was an audio call, a Skype maybe, but this is the first we're talking face to face that I can recall, and it's lovely to see you on Saturday morning for you, Friday afternoon for me. So
it's all good.
Thank you for taking the time.
No problem.
I want to talk to you about the new Lamp of the Universe album. It's I don't know, man. You keep me on my toes with this. It's persistently surprising where you have kind of taken Lamp of the Universe, especially over like, I don't know, the last 5 or 6 years, and I feel like the Akashic field is no exception. Does your you work in a lot of the same style, but you seem to pursue different things regularly on records. Going into this one, coming off of Dead Shrine, did you have something in particular you were looking for?
Yeah, I just wanted to get everything in that I like doing, instead of sectioning it off to a band, the band, or my stuff. Just production wise, especially, wanted to step things up a bit. Just add what I've been doing outside of the Lamp of the Universe thing, and just have no limits, which I kind of felt like I maybe had a little bit before, if that's weird to say, even though I spread myself quite wide anyway. Just to incorporate maybe some of the things I love to do in the band. It's kind of hard to put my finger on exactly what it is. I don't really plan anything in detail. I just go with what I feel. So keeping people on their toes is probably just me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like to go in too deep into it and just plan things. It's just like how I feel at the time.
Right.
It's a difficult one. I just kind of let it happen, and then I find a thread to go with, a vibe to go with, and then it's just it's on. It sort of does itself. I don't know where it comes from. It's just one of those things. The continuation from Dead Shrine was, to me, it felt like at that point it was time to try some new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But still being true to how I feel and what it should sound like, or what I think it should sound like.
What can you define for me some of those limits? Like what was it you were looking to sort of, I don't know, break out from, incorporate? Expand on that for me, please.
Maybe production wise, the recording, and with that comes a bit of realization that I can do different things, or I can add different things because of the things that have changed. I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of hard to
like
put
what?
my finger on. Just recording gear. But that stems from just going, I just need to change. I just need to change a few things, because I have been happy with this now, and I've done it for a while. Now I need to kind of move it along a bit
Mhm.
without with still being true to what I want to do. So I don't know. Dead Shrine was maybe the last album that's going to sound like that, which had been sort of similar kind of recording gear. You know, same way to think about it. You record something, I react to it, so it continues on that path. When you use, at least for me, use different gear, and it sounds slightly different. I have different ideas, or things come to me to expand on it. So yeah, a little bit of that. So I guess people will hear it in the new album where it's maybe a little more band sounding, with maybe the Datura and Archivist stuff. It's more in line with that because of the gear. But yeah, but it's just me still doing it. So it'll have that thread from the past. Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know if that answers the question or not, but
sort of.
Sort of.
What has changed for you in terms of recording gear? What is that? How has, I mean, okay, so the process is obviously different. You're doing more layering, you're playing different instruments than you were, a couple of years ago, and further back than that. And some of the same as well. I mean, you got the guitar, you got the sitar, but you're doing more with keys, you're doing more with drums, you're expanding on it. What has changed in terms of the recording process as a result of that new gear, and how you're building the songs?
It's more in line with what I maybe did in a group setting.
Except you're the whole group.
I'm no group.
You're the whole group. Yeah.
When I write, it comes from the same place. So in a group, we go into a professional studio, we track things, everything's done. We've got an engineer, we've got somebody to, do those things. It's everything's bigger. It's more people involved and stuff like that. So now it's all those things I have, obviously, except for the other people. So I had, so the better studio gear, the bigger production, just things like recording the drums better and stuff like that. Kind of, I react to that, and I find myself doing similar things that I may have done in a band situation with other people. So instead of like I used to record drums with 2 microphones, and now there's like 9 on there or something. So it sounds a lot bigger, and and I react to that. So it'll sound a little bit more direct. It'll be heavier. There'll be a stronger rock element in there because of these things, instead of going slightly more lo-fi, maybe. You could argue. Yeah.
Do you feel like the Akashic Field is far and away kind of the most band sounding thing Lamp of the Universe has done? And I don't know if you know this about me and Lamp of the Universe, but I am a bit of a fan. So I have heard
everything.
Yes. I have heard the gamut of Lamp of the Universe stuff, and I put this album on, and I was legit surprised. I was even coming off Dead Shrine, and I do feel like what this record does in a way is kind of, as you sort of said, was blur the line a little bit between Lamp of the Universe as a solo endeavor and what a band might do. It's interesting that part of that process comes from actually building the songs, right? So the song, so it's not so much that you're going into making this album saying to yourself, okay, now I'm going to do full band, one dude, rock and roll, but it's but it's as you're recording. I'm sorry, my light is insane. It's just psychedelic effects. Don't worry about it. But as you're actually, building the songs in this recording process, sort of feeding off the sounds you're getting is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, because I write the songs the same way.
Right.
So with little or no limitations, studio wise, I can achieve, maybe a little more accurately. Maybe I don't know if it's accurate, just being more direct, which is something I've wanted to do for quite some time, which is, incorporating those band sounds, which are there all the time. It's just, when you record here, or in the other room, with two microphones on drums, it's kind of, you have limitations. Whereas if you have a bigger studio setup and, more scope, it ends up sounding like something that you maybe have done before, and in a studio, written the same way, but just realized in a more complete way. So this is what that is, or the start of what that is, at least. Yeah.
Is the record more Datura in your mind, or is it more Arc of Ascent? Listening back to it, just listening to the finished product, what do you hear more in there?
Good question. I haven't thought about that. I've played it to some people, not very many people, and they reckon it's neither. There's elements of both, but it's not sounding like Lamp of the Universe previously. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. So elements of both, maybe. So all three combined. I don't know. I mean, it's just how I do things. So of course, there's going to be elements of everything.
I kind of agree. I feel like Arc of Ascent is a little bit fuzzier, thicker, riff wise.
Yeah.
Although Descendants is its own thing in that regard, in tone. But yeah, and when it was Datura going to sort of and Lamp of the Universe taking priority from that, you kind of understood where you were coming from. In the first couple Lamp of the Universe records, even, where it was like, okay, we're taking that element from the the psychedelic element, and then we're drawing it way out into this new thing. I kind of feel like the new Lamp of the Universe is, as you say, pulling from everywhere around.
I think I've just got to the stage where I'm happy to do that. With the first couple of Lamp ones, I wanted to get as far away from that
rock,
the rock, pretty much.
Hey man,
for a long time. So as time's gone on, I've kind of felt a bit better about incorporating it. So instead of going back to that sound completely, I just kind of felt a bit better about going down that way.
Now, why was it that you initially were done with it? With the rock?
So around 99, 2000, it was kind of just the situation the whole band thing was in, with with the label and with the internals of the band and what was going on. And I was just like, I just needed to clear that away. And I was obviously listening to other music as well, but it just kind of reminded me of that situation for a long time. So I would just not even go anywhere near it for quite some time, until nearly 10 years later, where I sort of started the Arc of Ascent thing.
Right.
So so it just kind of burnout from quite a tense situation. I mean, we did the Visions for the Celestial album, which was an absolute fucking mind fuck at the end of it. It's just like out it came and off I went. So I think we played one show to support that album, and then that was about it.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just it was one of those situations. I mean, I mean, a lot of work went into it, but I think I don't know. Thinking back now, it probably just run its course anyway. So yeah, but yeah, I just wanted to get away from all that. So just keep writing.
So 10 years, but 10 years later,
yeah,
you start Arc of Ascent.
Yeah.
Right. And you've sort of managed to weave that and Lamp of the Universe to coincide with each other and now almost sort of meld on this record.
Yeah.
Tell me about Rockin' Again. I mean, like
Rockin' Again.
Yeah. No, you know, it's kind of what's going on.
Again.
Yeah.
Rockin' Again with my bad self.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yes. Write that down. You should keep that. Yes.
I don't know, because of the whole lockdown thing that we've still got over here, and what had been going on internally with the band, which wasn't. I mean, it was okay, but nothing much was happening. So I just kind of felt like I needed to not completely go back to that thing, but to just touch on it again, because I felt like it was part of what I like doing as well. So I write a lot of songs, and some of them just sit there for years and years waiting for the right opportunity, or this one sounds like a band, this one sounds like just me with acoustic guitar, so I take work on what I feel like I need to do for the next part, and it just at the moment it's incorporating some of those things, which feels pretty good.
What Arc of Ascent did Europe however many years ago that was, right? I remember you played Freak Valley. Was it 2018, 2019?
2019, yeah.
Okay.
Which is great. It was.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
The whole setup there's, I mean, have you been? It's amazing.
Next year is my year.
Next year.
Nice. I was due to go in 2020. And yeah, and then that happened. It's interesting though, you mentioned, speaking of the global pandemic, it's interesting though that you mentioned being locked down as sort of a driver, maybe not a driver, but a factor in changing your sort of creative headspace. I feel like I definitely experienced that, and I think a lot of other people have as well. And I've seen this year like a glut of albums that are different or new projects or things like that. Especially coming off of 2019, where you did this trip to Europe with Arc of Ascent, was part of the change just restlessness for you last year?
No, I don't think so. It's just because of some internal factors with Arc of Ascent, we weren't really being very productive, and that causes me to be kind of start looking at different options to get out creatively what I want to do. I think we did an Australian tour at the end of 2018, and then we played like 3 shows in 2019.
Okay.
And that was it. And then the pandemic hit. So I was kind of thinking that way anyway, but I didn't really want to go and do a lockdown album, because that would be the obvious thing to do. and and a lot of people are doing it and doing it well, but it wasn't for me, you know. So I just kind of felt like I needed to give it a bit of space and make sure, you know, it was what I wanted to do. You know, and that sort of, yeah, and learning production techniques and stuff like that is not easy, at least for me. So that helped. So I just during lockdown sit at home and, you know, learn how to record myself again instead of doing it in the bedroom with 2 microphones on the drums. Just yeah. So it's helped, maybe not creatively, I don't think. It's just given me more time to think about, you know, what's next. Yeah.
I don't know. I think the work you do recording yourself is creative
Yeah.
work too, though. Right. I mean, that's not, especially as, you know, you said before, getting ideas off of what you've just done. Like, I just recorded myself with 9 drum mics and it sounds amazing and I want to pursue it. That's part of the creative process.
Yeah. Plus, I like to not be not too reactionary to something I've just put out. So like if I put out an album and people see it a certain way, I don't want to write in a reaction, as a reaction to, make, you know, because I feel like it's colored my mind a little bit, the reaction of the previous album to what the next one will sound like. And I don't like that idea. I like to be free of all that and just, you know, without any, you know, I definitely appreciate the reaction, that's for sure, but I don't want to write as a reaction to it. So most of the time when an album comes out, I already know where I'm going with the next one, or I'm most of the way through a follow-up of some sort when that comes out. So whether they like it or it's, you know, more than other ones or whatever, I like to already sort of have an idea of where I want to go next as that one's coming out. So I'm always kind of quite a long way ahead.
Okay.
So yeah. So I mean, initially not so much because of the earlier albums, but as it's gone along, you know, if you know, getting positive reactions is awesome. But it's just I don't know. I want to kind of just go in my own direction without too much reliant on you know,
on feedback,
on you know, on media, on sales, on how it's seen, what they like, what they don't like, none of that. Just you know, so when did Shrine come out, I already knew I was 3/4 of the way through this one and I knew where I was going with it. So yeah, so it wasn't really a sit around and think about, have extra time to think about what I'm going to write during a lockdown. That was more like, well, I already know what I want it to sound like. Now I just need to finish recording it in a different way and mix it in a bigger way, because that's where I want to go. And that was maybe before all the lockdowns and even before the reception to the last album. So yeah, I just feel like then I don't have anything worrying me or coloring my thoughts to write in a certain way. It's just, yeah.
Does that keep it? I get where you're coming from. Does that keep it sort of more purely your own?
Yes. I mean, I don't know. Being in a band, you get a lot of immediate reaction, and which I've seen and experienced, and I've been and I've had, we've had members, react to that. So, and they may not write too much or write anything, but it's just like, it changes how they view things. If we get a good or a bad review, to write the next thing. This is obviously years ago, and I always kind of thought, that's so weird. That, it's like suddenly there is, I guess the big bands would have that all the time, whereas if they have a hit album, they need to follow it up with something similar to keep everything coming. And I just thought that's just so weird, because then you're sort of not really being true to the initial idea anyway, So it's like, I've sort of found myself just doing that anyway, even with Arc of Ascent, even though there were some gaps between albums, some years, that I already kind of knew what it should sound like without anybody hearing the previous album or whatever, So to keep it more pure is probably spot on.
It's twice as interesting because it's you owning it, right? It's since it's just you, right? It's kind of a part of the band that you're keeping for yourself. It's interesting. You get to, I don't know, think about how you view things in that regard. It's also quite difficult, when you're trying to produce your own stuff, thinking about what, I don't think about too much about, how the reception's going to be. I kind of think about when it comes out, am I going to look back and be happy about it, about how it sounds, how it's put together, what I've done, the performances, the mix, stuff like that. Because as I get further ahead of the game, of the release schedule, it gets a bit better because I have more time. So everybody's going to process the new album, which is awesome, and that's where I'm headed, as far as I can tell. I have so many songs, it's not funny. So it's just a matter of being true to myself and continuing on. How do you, sort of amid trying all these new things, the new production techniques, new recording, new ideas of building your songs, how do you feel, what's your take on the album?
I'm really happy with it, actually.
Okay.
Well,
that's good.
Not that I've ever been not happy with an album, but for some reason, this one, it's just a little bit more immediate, and maybe some people won't like the cleaner production values. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's something that draws people in. That's kind of semi obscure lo-fi psychedelic thing, which is cool. I like that shit too, But I just feel like it's a good step forward for me. I'm really proud of it, actually. It's it's one of those weird things right before, a month before it comes out, that So I have had some reaction already from yourself and a few others, but I feel I feel good. I feel good about it. I'm headed in the right direction. Well, I'm heading in the right direction I feel I need to go. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
So you see the sort of trajectory of Lamp of the Universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Is heading in, is going to continue to head in this path.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, that's all I can really tell you, but because that's all I know.
Okay.
Yeah. But it just feels quite good. I mean, obviously, future releases, may vary a bit and, do different things. But
I should hope so, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna churn out the same stuff. But just incorporate, things I may have done in the past. Be a bit more direct, but as well, just doing other things I like. I mean, it's hard to say. But the direction is I'm happy with. Yeah, let's just put it that way. I know that sounds obscure, and
no,
and that I don't know what I'm.
I don't think
I don't know.
I don't think you're supposed to know. I don't think you're supposed to be like, oh no, definitively the next 3 Lamp of the Universe albums
are going to be this and this.
Yeah, no. I mean, there are people who work that way.
Sure.
And I mean, if you were going to put out like 3 different concept albums, I would kind of expect that.
Which could happen.
Hey man, I'm here for it. If that's what's going on, just keep me posted. All right. But but I want to talk about this backlog of songs, and the idea of finding the thread, because if you have this archive of stuff you've written and presumably demoed out in some form, tell me about picking tracks for this album specifically from that. Like, how far back do these songs date?
Let me think about this. Some of the ideas are real old, like Cosmic Union, Echo and Light old.
Okay.
So it's all down to interpretation. I mean, there's ideas, and then there's realizing that idea in whatever way. So there's no real bad ideas. It's just interpretation on how it's going to work. So like there's a song on the first Arc of Ascent, Master of the Serpents. See, now that was an old Lamp of the Universe song from 99 or something that I never used, and I could never make it fit in any way. And we just needed something a little different. So I was just like, brought it into the sessions, worked. So that was originally, a bit more acoustic-y. But it's stuff like that. So there's stuff sitting there that, just needs to either, I just need to go through and think about, how it's going to be interpreted, So in saying that, how I pick them is just, I just go by feel. Like I'll just go through them and go, I'll write something new, just like where I feel like it needs to go. So it's just like, you go through all the songs and go, that one could work. Go through it, try it out, leave it there for a while, try something else.
Sure.
It's not easy, I tell you, because there's a lot. But I have a fair idea where it needs to go. Just, you're in a certain headspace, you need to go in a certain direction. It's like that. So yeah, it's just trial and error, maybe.
And it becomes a question of arrangement too, then, right?
Exactly.
I mean, one of the things that has, that has always been exceptional about Lamp of the Universe to me is the arrangements. What you have sort of brought to the songs in terms of instrumentation, and
Okay.
Even sort of in the most acid folky of stuff, the sort of blends of acoustic guitar and sitar and drones and various percussions and things like this. You've been able to build the songs sort of in a certain way. What instrument do you write on the most?
Guitar.
Acoustic, electric?
Both, depending on the idea I have in my head. It's like sometimes it can be acoustic and then I switch. But yeah, I mean, it's how I kind of learnt to hear music. It's like you play it on guitar. In saying that, I'm trying my hand at writing on piano, which is kind of cool. So yeah, there's a new track, a track on the new album, Minds of Love, which is I wrote on piano and switched to mellotron because I could hear that sort of vibe. So yeah, been trying my hand at that. See, I'm pretty shit on the keyboards, so so we'll see.
No, but it's but even that is something that you're hearing in your head and sort of following it. Do you ever feel like there are, I get this all the time, in myself, where it's like I have a specific way in my brain that I want to phrase a thing that I'm writing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you hear it. You hear it in your head, and it is up to you to like make that happen. When you're putting a song together, when you're building out a song in the studio, can you talk about what you're hearing in a Descendants? Okay, let's take Descendants as an example.
Right.
Tell me about what you were hearing in that song and the process of realizing it.
Descendants, yeah. It wasn't a case of wanting to do anything different. It was just like that was an idea I had that I could hear needed to sound that way. So
why? What about it?
The instrument choices, you mean, or just how it's turned out? Everything.
Yeah, just how it turned out.
Yeah. I think that was me taking a step in the direction of I want to incorporate an idea like this on something I'm doing myself. So I'm gonna go down this path. I'm not going to hold it, and in 10 years' time, it comes out on another release or with a band I've been in or anything like that. I'm going to follow this through because I really think it's a cool song.
Okay.
So that was the motivation to do that. I mean, so people will hear pieces of it that may remind them of things I've done in bands that I've never wanted to, or I've never, felt like I should incorporate. So yeah. So I absolutely had to do that one. It was Yeah. No acoustic guitar, no sitar, no nothing.
No.
You know.
No, that's a rock song. Yeah, no. Yeah.
That's a rock song.
Yeah.
That is taken straight off the fucking Datura reunion album.
Not holding my breath for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I played it to somebody and they were just like, oh, this sounds like some of your old stuff. I was like what? But yeah, I know where they're going with that. But it's cool because that's I don't know, that's what I sound like doing that stuff, you know. So I can't really change that. It's just that it's just me playing everything is probably the difference of why it'll sound different. And you know, and that's cool. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. And you're also, you know, you're also, again, it goes back to that idea of you owning the thing. You're also in your own feedback loop at that point, because you're, you know, if you're sort of putting yourself in this position where you're separate from the response, or at least, you know, timing wise,
absolutely,
then it's another way in which you are in sort of complete ownership of that process of the direction.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. So you guys are listening to Dead Shrine and I'm recording Descendants.
There you go. It's awesome.
There you go.
Good for you.
And I'm just like,
yeah, way to get the workaround there. That's really good. That's very good.
And I'm just thinking, holy hell, what the fuck are they gonna think about this? But got to do it.
So how deep are you in the next record at this point?
Just finalizing a mix.
Okay.
So yeah, everything's written. So, but I don't know. I like to fuck around with little bits and pieces for a long time. So might swap a song out. I may change an arrangement. I may re-record some vocals. You know, so drive around in my car and probably listen to it too much. But yeah. So that's kind of, I normally spend, I have no idea, maybe at least a few months doing that after I kind of feel like I've finalized what it should sound like.
Mm-hmm. You live with it.
I live with it, yes,
yeah.
Which I've also not done in the past and regretted it to a certain point.
Be specific. What record?
What record? Not really any of my stuff, my solo stuff, because like
okay. Come on.
Yeah. Just some, like, I don't know, things I mean, not necessarily bad things, but things I would have done differently. Okay. So.
Such as.
Well, when we did Visions for the Celestial, we mixed that twice, and because All Is One was a good rock record for me, but I would have done things a bit differently.
Okay.
So, and we didn't think about that at all. We didn't live with it. We just went record out, and so we mixed.
Which a lot of bands do, which most bands do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know people who are in bands and that's happened. So with Visions, it was pick the songs, mix, and just about to go and get it mastered and finish it. And I'm just like, I'm not happy with this. So we spent a lot of money and remixed it, luckily. But yeah, so that's one of the instances. But, maybe some of the earlier Lamp records where I maybe didn't have the experience or foresight to stop and think about certain things, or have the experience to mix it in the way that I wanted.
Mhm.
I kind of look back on it now and go, it's it's cool, but things change. You grow, you get more experience, you learn more things, you do things in a different way. You do one thing for a while and you get bored of it, so you go and do something else. Maybe it's a bit of that.
Okay.
So
How
yeah,
set how set in stone are those things in your mind? Would you ever go back and remix an old Lamp record?
No, I have had the opportunity to do that, and people have asked me about it or have put it to me.
Mhm.
I'd probably only go as far as to maybe remaster something old. I don't want to, I don't really want to fuck around with sounds that I've recorded 20 years ago, because that's a period of time that is set.
Right.
And I don't want to go back and try and rewrite history, in that way, sonically. Sometimes, when bands do that and they remix an old album, it just sounds weird to me, because I fell in love with that album because of the way it sounds, the songs, the performance, the vibe, the sounds, and then they remix it, and it just sometimes it ruins it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I am aware that people are familiar with some of the older stuff and the way it sounds, and they have that connection, and that's important, and I don't want to go back and change that for me, for them. It's just they're there. I'm proud of that stuff. I don't hate it in a way where I need to go and remix it, or anything like that. I mean, they have memories for me, like probably that the same as that people that heard it for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and now 20 years later, have that memory or still listen to that album. Who knows? But for me, I don't really want to go back and change anything like that. It's just I don't want to go and remix the White Album. Yeah,
it's been
why
done.
Fuck with Sergeant? Why fuck with Sergeant Pepper?
It's been done.
Fuck with Sergeant Pepper?
It's been done.
Why?
Because I'll keep buying it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
Yeah.
It's you're just also like, why?
You're also pretty consistently busy on the next thing, or the thing after that, as it were.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. So I could stop and look back, but it's not what I want to do. I mean, I want to look forward to the next thing, or where I'm going, or to expand my mind somehow by doing something new, or learning something, or just going in a slightly different direction, or using a different technique, which I was doing back then. So it's just sit
more
around
experience.
And smell roses.
Yeah.
Sit around and smell.
Are you ever worried that if you stop, you wouldn't be able to start again?
I did stop.
Not really. When? Come on. Bullshit. When?
I stopped after Echo and Light. I stopped for a year.
6 whole weeks.
I stopped for a while because the label shafted me, and I had to reassess what I was doing.
Okay.
So it was just like, I still want to make music, but the whole business is shit. So do I want to keep doing this? But I did. So but yeah, I mean, at times it gets a little, I don't know, you get either stuck in a rut, or anything that you love doing becomes,
Of course.
you need a change, or you need to do something, or have a small break. But yeah. For 6 weeks, as you
Right,
say.
for 6 weeks, yes. 6 week break. Yes. But I mean, you are reliably prolific in the sense that no, I'm serious, and I mean that as a compliment.
Okay.
You are someone who has a creative work ethic.
Yeah.
And more than that, you're someone who has a creative work ethic, who can be relied on to not do the same thing again. You know what I mean? You're gonna put out the Akashic Field after Dead Shrine. It's gonna be something different. It's gonna go in a different direction. It's still gonna be you doing it, but it's gonna be something else. I find that in my writing, like if I get in a sense where I'm saying the same thing in the same way, I get mad at myself. It's like I need to find something else. I need to find another fucking word sometimes for just this one thing. So you're talking about getting stuck in a rut. Like I get that, but at the same time, I do sort of feel like if I ever put it down, I wouldn't be able to pick it back up again. Like I have a little bit of fear about that.
Yeah.
Is that something you've ever dealt with? Like, tell me, in that year, right after Echo and Light, where you're feeling that sort of discouraged break, was there a moment at which you were like, maybe I never do this again?
I didn't know. I didn't want to think about it. It's just like when it's kind of pissing you off that much, you just want to, at least for me, you just want to get away from it and not even think about it, and get a new perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, all the shit needs to go, stay over there for a while I get some, just take stock of what I have been doing, what I think I might want to still do. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, and then I'll have somebody in my ear go, well, what else are you going to do? You love doing this, don't you? You know you do.
6 weeks later. Yes.
6 weeks later. So it's just, and then little by little you go, oh, yeah, I think I know how I'm going to approach this slightly differently, but, it's same deal with the band. I was like, in 99, at the end of 99, I was done being in a band ever again, like never ever again. And by 2008, I got over myself and changed my mind. But I just felt like I needed to get out. I just need to, get out there and, and especially around here in New Zealand, people remember me from Daytura. And, telling me they had started listening to me when they were like 9 or 10 years old or something weird like that, which is, and they were suddenly 20 years old, which is cool, which is very cool. Actually, that was happening at Freak Valley, backstage.
Okay.
Yeah, so some cool people, man. But they'd come up to me and they'd go, I've been wanting to meet you for 25 years. And I'm just like, wow, really? It's just like, since you did that last Daytura album, I was just like, wow, this blows my mind.
Right. It's a good thing you went back and mixed it again.
Well, at the time, yes. I mean, yeah. So spent all, spent all that time, making it sound as it does now that people are used to hearing. So, but so I don't know. So going back to the band thing was beneficial to do that thing for a while, to get to Australia, to get to Europe. Very, very cool experience.
Would you, and maybe not to write with, would you ever put together a Lamp of the Universe band to play live?
Well, that would be the next logical step. I don't know how that would pan out. But
it's something that's been you for so long. I mean, you're more than 20 years on, right?
Yeah.
It's been you for so long. Would you be willing to share it, even just on stage with other players?
Exactly. I mean, because I write in the same way.
Yeah.
And
assuming nothing changes about the studio process, purely a live band.
Yeah. To compare it with a band situation is interesting because I write from the same place, but the more rock ideas would normally come out in a band situation. And when everybody who's in the band knows that there is a certain element of compromise,
of course,
in a band situation, because there's 2 or 3 or 4, whatever many people in there. So that's the case. So with my stuff, because I don't have that situation, I would have to not resign myself, but I'd have to accept that playing live is not going to be how I would play it, in a sense. So I would have to accept that it's a live entity over and above a studio thing. Like, some of those guys who record everything for their album and then they get a band,
a backing band,
and they go out. Like who does that? Like Tame Impala or someone like that. Yeah. So and it sounds fine. So that could happen. Not exactly sure about who or when or how. Oh,
hang on. Yeah. Well, you could see he's playing he has a Thomas the Tank Engine game on there. He's playing. So
awesome.
So it's almost time to go. Before I do let you go, though, I can see obviously behind you is a wall of vinyl, and even blurry. It's impressive. But what's on top of the records up there?
What side? That side?
Yeah.
Or up here?
Both.
There.
What's going on over there?
That's my Judge Dredd comic collection.
Okay. I knew it's something. And action figures on the other side there?
Those are old Star Wars figurines.
Very good. Very good.
There's
good job, buddy. All right. Just curious. Since it's blurred out, I wasn't sure. All right. You want to say bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
Hang on. There he is. Say hi. Don't touch the microphone.
Bye-bye.
All right. Craig Williamson, Lamp of the Universe. Thank you. I'm gonna stop the recording. So just hang out for a second. But thank you for
what's this?
Taking the time. That's a pop screen.
What's a pop screen?
It's helps Daddy not go pop, pop, pop. All right. There we go. I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you again.
good to talk to you, man.
Oh yeah.